Cuddy. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm C.
I'm P.
Today we're doing Andrew Tate's best podcast moments.
Try that again.
Andrew Tate's best podcast moments. Part 4. So.
For the Spanish people out there, cuarto.
I don't know. Probably have an accent. Let's begin. You have anything to say? Did you say?
No, I was just making fun of you.
Let's begin, guys. Enough of the shenanigans. Her shenanigans.
Well, I never.
Wait, like this.
Okay.
First thing, man, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. The Matrix is obviously trying to destroy me in real time, but they have failed. So as long as I'm still breathing until they decide to try and do something about that, it's a happy day. All in all, I'm pretty good.
I sit and argue with people, I discuss things with people, and they so fervently believe a point. And I say, why do you believe that so much? Like, do you have personal experience? No, but I saw the news. Why do you believe? The news told you X, and now you are desperate. You will sit here for hours arguing that point. A lot of people are completely empty vessels, ready to be programmed. And I try and tell people, listen, to just stop for a second and understand that the things they're telling you to believe are not necessarily for your benefit. The people who make the rules don't make the rules for the benefit of everybody. They make the rules to the benefit of the people who make the rules. The reason I think they saw me as such a threat is because of the influence I had over the number one demographic they want to keep control over, which is the military-age males, the young males. That's the number one most scary demographic for a government.
For sure.
Because they're the people who cause revolutions. They're the people who are going to go out and die for your army or be the backbone of your slave force. So when you have a whole bunch of young males who sit there and go, we don't want to listen to the government anymore, Tate said they're all full of shit, then they're going to sit there and go, well, this guy has to go. He's not good for society as a whole. It's the young men they're afraid of.
The biggest problem with men today.
Something Candace Owens says when he did the interview with Candace Owens is that she was trying to figure if this guy is getting so much popularity with young men, instead of figuring out why, they just try to like bury him somewhere. That was the mistake. Instead of trying to figure out why is he garnering so much male attention, it's not just misogyny. Everybody who follow him are not just misogynists. Like, it makes no sense. Every time they put like a broad thing to everybody, you know it's bullshit.
Everybody thinks.
So everybody who follow him are misogynists. You know what I mean?
That's because a lot of people don't want to do their research on things. They just hear, like, if you have a catchy title, like for the news or in a newspaper, that's all they see is the
Headlines, yeah.
So they're
Yeah,
not
so I
going to
feel
do the research to see, well, is this factual? Like,
yeah, she made a good point. They try to figure out why is it garnering so much attention from men. Try to figure out maybe how to you guys use that to get men's attention too, instead of just naming him like a misogynist. The heck?
This guy has to go. He's not good for society as a whole. It's the young men they're afraid of.
The biggest problem with men today is that I think the world is becoming hyper-competitive. Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. Not just finances, but also female status, everything else. And it's a status game, right? And it's becoming harder and harder for men to play. And that's all women's fault, of course. But it is, because women choose the winners, right? Women choose who the high status males are. So women pretend to give a shit about men. Of course they don't. They give a shit about themselves. A woman, if you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much. I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic and interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat. And is funny and good looking and strong. I don't want much. Like they name all this shit that most dudes are never gonna have. And it's becoming harder and harder, and you end up with people, top G's, who own everything on the planet they could ever possibly wish for, and then you got other guys who have nothing, and there's this large divide. There's no longer any middle ground. You have dudes who can't get any pussy, and then you got dudes who are just blocking girls left, right, and center. And that's what the problem with being a man is today. Although I'm completely...
A quick question. Do you think women care about men? Not the men that they know, like men in general. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They don't. There are a select few that do. Like, I always try, because I'll have conversations with women, and I always try to, like, I'll bring in examples of people that they know that are men, because
Yeah.
they'll say horrible things about men, and I'm like, okay, if that's the case, that's true for your nephew, that's true
Your
for
brother,
your brother,
your
that's
dad,
true for your
right?
dad, and they're like, oh no, not my.
Yeah.
They're not the exception. They're a man.
Yeah.
You're sitting here, you're bashing men, but there are men in your family. But you're making it seem like those men in your family
are the only ones who were good. Everybody else is just
no.
Yeah,
That's
that
not
makes
how
sense.
it works.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like women care about like men they know that are close to them, but men in general they don't give a shit.
They'll
about.
bash, yeah.
But I feel like men in general care about women. Even though, let's say, a man's walking down the street and a woman have trouble, he'll go in and help her. You know, I feel like men care about women way more, like as a general, way more than women care about men in general.
I think I was kind of blessed in a sense, because I always grew up with a lot of men around me. Like I had a lot of guy friends, and even though like I'm one of those statistics that didn't have a dad in the picture, I had a lot of men around me that I respected, and because of that, I never saw men the way a lot of women do.
Yeah, as perpetrators and
or as
murderers
like
and
horrible
creeps.
people,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
people that are trying to bring women down, because the men in my life were always so supportive of the women in their life. So
For fatherless homes.
Completely fine with what they've tried to do to me. I've been sitting here.
And that's what the problem with being a man is today.
Although I'm completely fine with what they've tried to do to me, I've been sitting here thinking, if I was a normal dude, I'd be in serious trouble right now. Like, not just financially, not just your economics, but genuinely how you feel. When I was canceled, when they tried their very, very best to lie about me and then delete me from all social medias and continue to lie about me, when you have the entire world trying to say you're something you're not, or convince the populace that you're dangerous when you aren't, or convince the world that you're a bad person when you know you're not, and a lot of people obviously believe it, then you start getting death threats, your family start getting death threats, and there's safety concerns. And I was thinking, if I was a normal dude living a normal life right now, this would be a serious problem. Luckily, I'm not a normal dude.
People are being extracted for their value, their physical value, whether you're digging holes or carrying garbage or whatever. And your mind is constantly distracted by garbage. It's distracted by TV shows and concerts and clown world. I call it clown world because it's a never-ending circus. All this garbage they distract you with. First it's COVID, and then Putin cures COVID the day he invades and COVID's cured. And it's all just a big scam from head to toe. And the reason I call it the Matrix is because a false reality is being projected onto humanity, and they do that by controlling narratives. If they allowed people to have critical and open conversations about, let's say, COVID, at the height of the pandemic, it never would have lasted 3 years. But the reason, because they censor and delete one entire side of the argument, then you're only left with their version of reality, and they're projecting a reality. And they do that with nearly every subject. There are so many subjects you can't have an open discussion on. And if they only control, if they delete all of one side and only keep one side there, then that's a false paradigm, it's a false reality, and that's what they're doing. And they're convincing people to act in certain ways and do certain things which are not necessarily in their best interest or necessarily true.
Let's all be professional.
I feel like a lot of reason why the vid was so like scary because it wasn't on the news every day.
every day.
As soon as it got out of the news every day, it was not as scary. But if we put to something every day, oh, this many people died here, this many people died here. It wasn't on the news every day. So people were getting scared. That's what happened.
Yeah, but it's like he said, they're projecting what they wanted, so they only were showing this, and they were lying about statistics too. And it was just, they did it as a scare tactic.
They know what they were doing.
Because they didn't want people to go out and be like, okay, why are all these stores closed? Why you know what I mean?
They scare you.
Here, let's be smart. The Matrix has decided to character assassinate me. They have gotten all of their media establishments, all of their bullets. They fired every fucking bullet at me. Do you think they're not going to sit there and go, what other bullets do we have in the chamber? Who's his primary audience? These guys. Which cuck do we have who obeys every word we say, who also is somehow listened to by some of his guys? Logan. Go to a podcast. Andrew's bad. Whether it was YouTube, whether it was his manager, whether it was his boyfriend, fuck knows who, someone sat there and said, do this. And they sat there for 2 hours saying, Andrew's so evil. You like a bunch of pussies because they were told to. Society punishes men for not being self-accountable. Society does not punish women for not being self-accountable. I'll give you an example. If you're a man and you're arrogant and you think you're something when you're not, trust me, society will teach you very quickly that you don't matter when you don't get laid and you stay a fucking brokey. If you're a chick and think you're something when you're not, you can run around with your ego, still get dates, still get laid, still have a fairly sensible social life. Society as a whole doesn't come along and slap you in the face with realizations. If you're a man and you think you're something you're not, it is a ticking time bomb until society teaches you a lesson.
I put a life together that made me difficult to damage long ago, long before this, because I knew to a degree something like this was going to happen. But yeah, it was certainly an interesting few months when they began the attack.
Yeah.
We live in a world where I don't think the average person realizes how much they are lied to. From the way money works is a lie,
Facts.
financial system is a lie, judicial system is a lie, medical health care is a lie. It's all a lie. It's all a scam. Just go to work, pay your taxes. And that's why I call it the Matrix. And like I said, I talk about things from a non-emotional standpoint, from a professional standpoint. I do think they made a mistake. And I'm not saying that because it's me. I'm not saying that because I want to get back on. I'm saying that because when you do something like they've done, like the mass cancellation of me, it's very, very important that you do not come across as tyrannical. You have to be seen to be fair and non-biased. And everyone for a long time knew that wasn't the case. And banning me added more fuel to the fire, added more pressure to the dam. The water behind the dam is these people are not fair. They control all the information. They're not non-biased. They're actually extremely biased. They're tyrannical. And what happens is when you have a lot of pressure behind a dam, it takes a very small crack for the whole thing to explode. The crack that was missing is someone to be canceled and become more successful.
I don't think most people understand, especially women, how competitive the male world is and how competitive it is for status. This is why men do everything they do. Men buy the faster car, not to drive any faster, because of status. It's why we want a bigger house. We don't give a shit where we live. It's because of status. It's why I want to go to the gym and get big and strong, because of status. Everything we do is about status. It's why we want the better jobs. It's why we want more money. It's why I want to be respected. So what's the number one thing we want our female to give us? Status. That's what we want. So she can give us status by being beautiful. That's one thing she can do. But another thing she could do is if I turn up home and I come home with my boys and she says, I'll cook you all a steak. That's status. That's all my boys going, Ross, you've just been out all night and she's here and she's going to cook for all of us and she'll clean up and tidy up. Boom. That's the kind of girl a man's not going to want to lose because it makes him look good.
I call the world the Matrix.
I said something about how the men always have a competitive. I think that's one of the reasons why there are men who are like who owns most of the wealth, and a lot of men almost have nothing, because the male dynamic is so competitive that if you're not on your shit, on your grind, there's gonna be a guy out there who is on his grind that's gonna take your shit from you, right? Whether it's your money, whether it's your girl, whether it's everything. So that's why if there's a free system like you know the free market, if that's allowed, there's always gonna be people at the top who makes almost all the money, and the rest gets trickled down to the rest. There's gonna be a big portion of people on the bottom who almost have nothing, right? And that's what was going on right now. Especially it make it worse nowadays because of inflation and the all that's going on right now. But it's always gonna be that. I feel like females are more likely to be like, let's share this, blah blah. You know what I mean? That's more willing to like cooperate in a way because you guys are not as competitive. You know what I mean? But a man wants this. He wants more and more and more and more and more, right? And for him to get more, he's got to take from other people, right? That's how the men's sphere is. And that's why there's always going to be guys out there that are not, going to be anything because they don't have that drive. And a lot of men do have that drive.
I feel like it's different types of competitive, though. Like, for women, their competitiveness is more like sneakiness. Like, they're gonna do what they need to do to get to a certain point in their life. If they're in the working force, they're gonna grind what they need to do to get what they want. They're gonna act friendly and act like we're working together. But if they get a chance to stab that bitch in the back, they're gonna stab that bitch in the back. You know what I mean? Men, I feel like they're more upfront about it.
Men have more honor, yeah.
You know what I mean?
More honor.
It's more
definitely.
like, we're competing. I'm gonna get this. If I get this, then I'm the man. And the other guys could be like, all right, you did that, but next year I got you, and that's gonna be that. Women, it's more like.
But do you think in general men are more competitive than women, right? In general.
In general basis, yeah. In a general basis, yes. In the workforce, it's kind of like for women that want to be like CEOs.
Yeah,
types,
but how many of them are there?
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying. In general,
there
are way more men that want to be that than women do.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the comparison that you said about women, competitive nature versus men's competitive nature. Women are more sneaky than men. That's
I get that.
I agree with you in the broad aspect.
Yeah, but the main point I was making is that there are more men who are competitive who want to get that status than there are women. Because you said,
men care more about status.
Exactly.
Women care more about
other shit.
Well, our moral caringness is more about building a home for ourselves and our family. We want to be able to provide a stable environment.
Like I think I'm also more likely to want to be loved.
Yes.
But but for women, if he cares so much about status, right, and getting to a CEO, getting to a owner, getting to like an entrepreneur is more status. So there's gonna be a lot more men going for this position than there are women.
Yeah.
And because of that, men are going to be fighting with other men. There's more competition because of that. Basically, the point I was making.
Very simply, if the people who've seen the movie, they will know that our body heat inside of the movie, the body heat of humans is being harvested and used, and they occupy our minds with a false reality to keep us producing body heat long enough for the machines to function. And I believe that's a perfect analogy of what happens in the world today. I believe that our labors and our intellects and our work is basically being exploited from us and extracted. And to keep our minds occupied, they purport a false reality. Perhaps it's not a computer simulation like the movie, but it's certainly computer controlled. If the social media companies and the media companies can control the information people have access to, and they'll delete an entire side of the argument for anybody who tries to talk against it, then they are creating a false reality. And people are buying into this false reality so that they can stay asleep long enough to continue to be a slave. So I think the Matrix is a perfect example of what's happening in the world today. And anybody who stands up and speaks loudly up against the Matrix, if you do it too loud, too long, sooner or later they see you as a problem, they want you to go away. They create a narrative. They prevent people from talking the counter to that narrative. They now own reality. You change all the Google search results, everything online says a certain thing must be true. And then you you weaponize it for your own benefit, whether it's higher tax rates or more control over our movement or giving people's freedoms away, etc. The world used to be based on freedom, especially in the Western world. During communism, etc., the Western world used to stand up and say, the difference between us and the communists is that we're free. You live in this country, it's a free country, it's a free country. But that's not the truth anymore. So now that everyone's starting to slowly understand it's not a free country, you have to replace the freedom with something else. And the only thing that humanity will accept in return for freedom is safety. So they say, listen, you're no longer free. You can no longer say what you want to say or go where you want to go or do what you want to do. You can't go outside for this 3 years. You can't do that. You can't drive that car because of fucking the polar ice caps, whatever it is. But don't worry, it's for your safety. We're going to keep you safe. Matrix attacks are going to come.
I want to say something. I remember they said that somebody said it. I forgot how exactly it's said, but they said that a government job is to gain as much power as possible. So eventually, any government is going to try to gain more power from the citizens. Eventually, it's going to turn into tyranny unless the citizen stops it, right? Because that's what the government's. That's their aim. I want more power. Because I know what's best for you. I'm gonna put these things in place. I know what's best for you.
It's up to a citizen it's what's best for me.
It's best to a citizen to actually fight back. And it might not always be from like in a bad in a sadistic way. Maybe they truly believe that that's what's best for you, right? But if you are one portion of the population who have all the power, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So it's never gonna end anywhere. So unless the citizens fight the government against the power, they're always gonna get more power and power until it's to.
Or at least stand up to what you believe in. A lot of people, we had this conversation on a previous episode that we did. A lot of people are so involved in their own little bubble, and they're so focused on trying to survive their own little lifestyle that when something comes and they know what's wrong, instead of speaking out against it, they just either ignore it or they'll just talk about it within their circle and that's it. And they hope that it will fix itself out.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that and thousands of other people are doing the same thing, then who is going to be fixing it out? You know what I'm saying?
And there's also a kind of argument is that if you are worried about what you're gonna eat the next day, or like how you're gonna pay rent the next month, you don't have time to worry about what the government is doing. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's not the thing too. If most of the population is poor and is not able to know what they're gonna eat the next month, or what they're gonna feed the kids, they got time to worry about what's happening, all the way up top. That's not a way too.
But I think when you have strong leadership and you have smart people and people who certainly anticipate that, and also when you fight for good and you're truly doing the right thing, God smiles upon you.
And I don't believe that tyranny lasts for long. Name a tyrannical government or a tyrannical situation in history that lasted forever. You can't name one. There's no matter what, whether it's the Roman Empire, whether it's the Third Reich, whatever, when you're tyrannical, sooner or later, there is a revolt. And they're going to try their very best to do certain things. But once the general populace understands that this is bullshit and this is a version of the truth or two sides of the story, then there's going to be a mass exodus and they can't stop that.
This is actually a serious point, right? This is a very serious point because the Western world has collapsed in real time and it's a failed society. And one of the reasons it's a failed society is because of the over-sexualization, especially of females as a whole. If a woman comes up to me and goes, "I'll be the best sex you ever had," I am fucking revolted. I don't want the best sex I've ever had. I want you to be pure and a virgin. You should know what sex is. Cook my fucking dinner. Shut up. Don't come and talk to me about fucking sucking dick. It's vile. It's disgusting. I don't want to hear that shit.
Basically, the media machine, the Matrix, decides.
It's funny because that's a lot of what you like hear and see nowadays.
Of girls say that.
Yeah, like how promiscuous they are. They think that it's gonna make guys go, "Oh my god, yes, you're amazing." No.
That's what they.
Even if you've had a promiscuous past or you forget a guy, don't go up to a guy that you like, a guy you really like. If you want to just have sex, fine. That guy love that. But if you really like a guy, please, for the love of God, don't talk about how good you are at sucking dick or how many sex you've had or how good you are at sex. Don't. He doesn't want to hear that.
Well, that goes back to that vicious cycle that we always talk about, how relationships are destroyed because of both men and women. And it's just like a circle. It's just like a giant circle. Because, like, women do that because all the guys that they had in the past were F-boys that only wanted that. So they think that, now they think every guy is like that. But those guys that are F-boys are only like that because they got screwed over by some chick. And you know what I mean? And the cycle continues. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, that's why a lot of girls do that, because they think, okay, all guys are like this. I'm just gonna act like this, and then once we're in a relationship, maybe we'll be able to make something different.
Nope,
you know what I mean? And it doesn't work out that way. It's just and to be honest, I don't know how you can fix it, because I feel like we've been so in that cycle for so long.
I don't know if we're gonna go back with feminism, and I don't know if we're gonna.
I don't know if you could ever fix it.
I don't know how we're gonna be able to fix it.
That's what I'm saying. We've been in this like loop for
even the kids,
years.
The kids these days are even worse.
Yeah.
They're growing up with this, like, you know, TikTok, and you got like 10-year-old kids who are on TikTok. They're seeing girls dancing and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, you think those girls are gonna see those little boys are gonna see girls as like a person instead of just some sex object? You know what I mean? When since you're a kid, all you've seen is girls online twerking and dancing and, you know, showing, sexualizing themselves, right? So when they grow up, what they're gonna see women as? They're gonna sexual object.
Think that every woman is like that.
Exactly.
And then it's the same thing with men. All you see is these guys out here that go from women to women to women.
Yeah, but if they haven't seen what a good woman is, how are they supposed to think?
That's what I'm saying. All my eggs in this basket. It's a deadly cycle. So like those men are going and corrupting women that actually are like that, because they think that those women are like the women that they were before.
Yeah.
And then those women are corrupting men that actually are decent, because they think those men are like the men they had before. So it's like a vicious cycle.
Exactly.
It's both sides that are doing wrong, and instead of us trying to come together and fix it, we're blaming each other. We're like, no, women did this. No, men did this. No, we both fucking did it. We both have to own up to our screw-ups. We both have to try to make things better for all of us.
The only kind of I'll say to that, I'll go with you that it's both genders' faults. It's not only one. But I would say that everything men do for sex or for relationship is because it works. If it didn't work on women, the men wouldn't do it. So everything men are doing to get girls and women doing, and the reason men are able to have sex with so many women is because the women are allowing it. Because in the past, women didn't allow it. They're like, before we have sex, we gotta marry me. And we didn't have men sleeping around with a bunch of people. Because of the feminist movement and women empowerment, and women believing that they can be like men, but all you're doing is giving the men what they want without you getting what you want.
I feel like that is a fraction of it, but I feel like the thing that corrupted even more so than that is the social media output.
Yeah, Instagram, it's all part of that. It's all part of
that. Snapchat, TikTok, OnlyFans, this stuff.
But I think if TikTok was around like in the 1940s, 30s, it will never be this bad. I think it's all like together. The feminism.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's what they promote on television. It's what they promote in ads.
But that's what I'm saying. The culture has changed. In the past, we didn't promote this stuff in the culture.
That goes all under social media and society.
But you get
more so than
you don't get what I'm saying. I'm saying like for example, right? Let's say in like I don't know, TikTok exists in the
no,
in
I'm
the Middle East,
TikTok,
right? I know everything, TikTok, TV, everything exists in the Middle East. You go to Dubai, you're not gonna see naked girls dancing on TV.
Things don't really exist that much in that country.
It's a culture. I'm saying it's a culture that happened because our culture changed. Then we thought that putting that on TV was cool. I'm saying because the culture has changed.
Yeah, but I'm saying that I don't think that the culture changed more so because of the feminist movement. I think that had a part of it, yes.
Of course, not everything.
But I don't think it's the bigger part of it. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, it's like the chicken before the egg. I don't think TikTok and TV is what changed the culture. I think that's what you were saying.
I'm not saying that that's what changed the culture. I'm saying that I think society in a whole, which is the ads, the television, the TikTok, the social media, etc., had a bigger impact on the change than feminism did.
I think feminism started and TikTok and they grew it into bigger things. Because like I said, in the Middle East, you have TikTok and all that, but they're not naked girls dancing. So I'm saying,
do they have the ads like that? Do they have
that's what I'm saying.
Stuff on the television
the culture
like
has
that?
to change first. Then the ads are sexualized.
Do you think the culture is what it is because of feminism?
I think it's part of it. I think TikTok and everything that happened after the culture already changed. So it actually made it worse. OnlyFans made it worse. If you go to Saudi Arabia, girls not gonna have OnlyFans because they'll get killed. I'm not saying that's good, but they'll get killed. That's the culture. Because the culture is like that, girls not gonna start OnlyFans. The culture has to change before we start putting section ads, section TV, section this, TikTok and this. You know what I mean?
It's not
I think
just
the culture
that,
has to
it's
change
also
first.
how you are portraying, how you are taught about your values and stuff like that. I was watching a video and they showed a clip of a wedding in the United States, and the priest was going through the to death through us part bit, and he was talking about honor and obey, and the woman was like obey, and then it showed a clip to out of country wedding, and the woman was like basically on her knees like,
but do you
I
see,
will take care of you.
But do you see how that's the culture, right?
Those are the core values
exactly
that we put into
the values of the United States change. When we got away from like Christianity and all that, the values changed, and because the values changed, we allowed TikTok to be sexualized, YouTube to be sexualized, TV to be sexualized. That's what I'm saying. The culture has to change first.
Okay.
If the culture doesn't change, then all those things are not gonna be allowed in that environment.
I did that. The impact I was having on the populace was not beneficial to them and their goals and their aims, and that whatever I'm teaching people or making people think about isn't necessarily aiding their agenda. I think with people in my position, some of them will sell their soul, or some of them will change their mind and shut up. I'm not that guy. They tried to, I think with a certain degree, they promise you fame and money, or they'll unshadow ban you, or they'll let you be a certain way. They'll let you get bigger and let your ego be satisfied if you'll be quiet. I refused, and then they decided to try and delete me from everywhere, so that's why.
I was walking to college with a couple of my friends, and a Ferrari drove past. And I said, bro, you see that? And he goes, yeah, what about it? I said, doesn't that piss you off? I must be about 16. He goes, why? So this dude has 400 G's for a car, 400 grand. I'm walking 4 miles to college because my mom hasn't got any car. He has 400 grand. Do you think he works a job? Do you think he's fucking behind a counter somewhere? He knows something about the world that I don't know.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he's rich. I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't say he wasn't rich, dummy. I'm saying he knows something about the world I don't know. And I was intrigued, and it angered me. I couldn't sleep for weeks. I was pissed off. Every time I saw somebody with genuine money, I understood that everything I was being told and taught and they were trying to make me.
Do you feel like you're the only guy that can like overcome this cancellation because nobody else has been able to?
Well, it's kind of like the 4-minute mile. I don't even know the story of the 4-minute mile, but when everyone was running, long distance running, everyone said a 4-minute mile was impossible. And everyone was attempting it, it was impossible. And then one guy did it one day, and after he did it, 10 people did it in like 3 weeks. Yeah. And it's like the belief. So I think a lot of people when they're canceled go, I'm done. Now, nobody else has I will sit here and openly say my network and the things I do and the unique way I approach it and the war room and the organization I have and the money I have and the influence I have is unique. Most people don't have that. However, people will have the morale to go, I've been canceled, but you know what? I'm not quitting. Doesn't matter. I'm not giving up. All right, just make a new account. Bang, back to work, back to work, back to work. And on a long enough scale, if enough people do that, there will be inertia and momentum behind it, which will make a shift in the universe. It will attack the matrix in real time. It's belief.
I'll tell you this, there's not a girl.
I've seen a few YouTubers, like for example, Candace Owens, him, and like I'm drawing blanks, but there's been a few other people that I've seen. With that, now they actually laugh about it. They're like, "Oh, I was canceled. That's why I was gone for a week. I'm back now. They tried to shut me down, but I'm back. So it's all good."
Yeah. But you know, not anybody can get back from that. You know, it's, like I said, you also have those connections, blah blah.
Well, not just that.
Time, like I said,
you also have that mindset.
The
you know what I mean?
The more people got, you know, come back from it, the more likely it's gonna happen. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's what he was saying. I think he was saying I have these connections and they help, but it's really the mindset. Yeah. You instead of I'm canceled, okay, I'm done. You have to have that ambition to have that grind to be like, no, I'm not done. I'm going back out there. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going, no matter who gets in my way, no matter what stops me. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people don't have, regardless of what connections you have.
On this panel or on the planet today who couldn't walk outside and find a man who's going to be nice to her, loyal to her, and make her his queen. Mm-hmm. Women don't want that. So they'll sit there and go, no, I want Chris Brown. And then they'll go try to get Chris Brown. Then Chris Brown will cheat. And they'll be like, I can't believe he cheated. I am devastated. Well, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? If I go to the car garage, right, you have to make a decision what you truly want in your life. If you truly want to just find a man who's going to look after you and take care of you, you're going to be his queen, he's going to be loyal, you can find that all day, but you're going to have to settle to a degree where a lot of women perhaps are not prepared to do that. You see how women act. They'd rather chase a fraction of a real G's time than have 100% of the time of a fucking dude who they don't respect at that level. And it's kind of like going to a car dealership. You walk in there, if you want reliability, you can get a Nissan. But if you want to get a Ferrari, it comes with headaches. It's going to come with problems. So when girls say to me, oh, you know what, Andrew, you know, you should be loyal to that. Men like me don't have to be. And you know that. So why the fuck are you here trying to tell me what to do? Because you know I don't have to be loyal, and all the girls I'm fucking don't have to be loyal. So why are you sitting there pretending you expected me to be loyal when everyone knew from ground up day one it was never going to ever fucking happen? And you're still here.
I took my Uber.
I feel like you said, like a lot of girls can get a guy who's loyal, who's honest, who's this, who's that, right? But they don't like those guys. A guy, if he's a loser, he cannot choose to like go down and, you know, in his list and get a girl who's loyal, who's this, who's that, right? And settle, right? Mm-hmm. A girl can always settle for something a little bit lower than what she wants, mm-hmm. and get a guy who's loyal, who's this, who's that. But most girls don't want to do that. I want this guy, right? Mm-hmm. This guy, they're losers. I don't want them. Even though they're loyal to me, they're this. I don't want this guys. I want this guy, right? I think that's true by and large.
I think the majority of women have unrealistic expectations of what they want in men. But then there's women that want a certain man. Like, their expectations aren't too grand, but there has to be some kind of... I think the attractiveness is what also it has to be put into play.
Sacrifices.
You know what I mean?
Sacrifices.
We have to be somewhat... There has to be somewhat of a physical attraction or chemistry for us to be willing to make other sacrifices. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like, if we're gonna make, let's say, you know, women normally say, I want 6-figure man, 6 foot tall, he has to be gorgeous, he has to have abs.
Pipe dream. Mm-hmm.
We would probably lower the 6 foot tall spectrum. Depending on the woman, they might even lower the money spectrum before they lower the look spectrum. Or they might even lower the look spectrum before they lower the money spectrum.
I guess it depends on what you value more.
It depends on the woman.
Yeah.
And it depends on what you value more. Mm-hmm. But majority of women aren't going to go for a loser versus a hot guy. The loser could be 6 foot.
Okay, so my point is, a woman doesn't have to be lonely. She can always find a guy. Even if she has to go down in her thing, she can always find a guy who's willing to have sex with her, or who's willing to listen to her, or willing to like date her. Even though she has to go down in what she really wants, looks, whatever, right? But there are men out there. No matter how low they go, they cannot find a girl who's willing to fuck them, or listen to them, or be in a relationship with them. I'm saying a woman always has a choice. Woman thinks I want this, right? They always can go all the way down, whatever, right? A guy says I want this, right? But other girls below him doesn't want him either. You know what I mean? So I'm saying,
I get what you're saying.
I'm saying a girl always has a choice to go down and find a guy. Mm-hmm. She never has to be lonely. No matter how ugly she is, a girl doesn't have to be lonely. Maybe she can find that connection she wants with a guy but she doesn't have to be lonely. But for some guys out there, they're just lonely and there's nothing they can do about it. They can, but they have to improve themselves, right? A woman doesn't have to improve herself. Mm-hmm. She can always find somebody who's gonna, deal with her.
But if
you know
she wants the man that she desires,
she
then she has to improve herself.
Exactly. But then if the man doesn't do it, he gets nothing. Mm-hmm. The woman doesn't do it, she can still get something. You get what I'm saying? That's the point I'm making.
I get what you're saying.
My Airbnb, which is funny because I never used Airbnb. When they sent me a cancellation email, it's the only one I replied to. I was like, because they sent me some email. Hi, my name's David. I'm from Airbnb, and the idea of inclusion is behind Airbnb's philosophy, and blah some crap about how I'm a bad person. And I replied, brother, I didn't even know I had an Airbnb account. I can't remember ever booking an Airbnb. I don't know why you're trying to feel involved, but get fucked. So I told them to fuck off. But Uber, Airbnb, my payment processor for my business, Stripe, my Gmail, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Discord,
yeah, everything
banks banks in the UK banned me.
Everything I want.
TransferWise banned me. Name a company, they banned me.
It's very hard for the average person to say no to anything. Unless you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, it's very difficult to even have an opinion on subjects. I have friends with normal jobs, and they say to me in private, yeah, man, bro, I wish I could talk at work. They can't say anything. HR will wreck them. You're not allowed an opinion. You're not allowed to talk. It's just work, consume, die, shut up, believe what you're told. That's how it is. It's clown world. It's a slavery.
My entire life, I've always woken up thinking or feeling like I had an enemy to fight against. As long as I can remember, I've always had. I was a professional chess player when I was a kid. So when I was 4, I woke up and my dad was sitting there saying, "You're playing this Chinese kid, he's good." Right? So I always had that. Then I had professional fighting. I had 87 fights. So my whole life I had some fight coming up. And now I wake up and the Matrix is attacking me. So I've always woken up feeling like I had an enemy. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly shaped my reality. It definitely shapes how I act and shapes how I think. I've always felt like I was in war.
Okay, I think we're going to stop it there. But that is very important, the way you just said that at the end.
I think that is.
I think men right now don't have battles to fight. Back in the day, right? You live in the village. There's always a threat of some other village coming to attacking your people. And it's up to you to protect them. So you always have to make sure you stay strong, you stay fit, right? There's always like struggle between us. You gotta go hunt, you gotta go farm. There's always need to struggle against. And that made men strong. Yeah. But nowadays, you can go to work, sit all day and just tap in the computer, come home, you can go to a grocery store, buy food. There's nothing to fight. I think women are built for safety, right? Women crave safety. They crave it and they thrive in safety. But men don't thrive in safety. They thrive in having a challenge to overcome. Mm-hmm. I think nowadays most men don't have challenges to overcome.
And not even that. Even if there is a challenge to overcome, they get pushed down. They get told that they're being
toxic, masculine, masculinity.
Or they're just,
or they've been so pussified that they don't want to challenge it. Like, testosterone is so low that they don't want to have to. Something a guy said. I think his name is Andrew Tate. He said testosterone makes effort feel good. Mm-hmm. That's why if the guys go to a gym to get big, the effort feels good. But when you have low testosterone, you don't want to put an effort on anything. And that's the big problem of it too.
You're finding a lot of lazy guys nowadays too.
Shit, even I'm lazy sometimes. I ain't gonna lie about it. I'm just lazy sometimes.
That only wanna like sit behind a computer or sit behind a TV and play video games and
we're still get
lost in the TV world. That's why I think it's so important when you have boys that at a young age you get them involved in some kind of sports.
Martial arts, sports,
You know what I mean?
anything that challenges them. Like imagine we start them young. The kids are born and they come out with a fucking tablet in their hand.
I think it like that. Like he said, he's like he was shaped to. He always felt like he had a battle that he had to go against, and that shaped him to be successful. That shaped him to have an open mind. That shaped him about his religious beliefs later on down the road. And it shaped him about how some of these women be acting and how he has to be careful because he knows some of these women aren't going to be good for him. I don't necessarily believe in his ideas of relationship, but I understand where he comes from with those ideas based off of how society is.
Yeah, I feel like we start boys really young to be distracted, to not have challenges, because you're born and you're on a tablet all day or phone all day or TV all day. You pacify your mind, right? So then your mind craves that that stillness, right? But for a man to become better, he has to overcome challenges. But if everything's so easy, you get food. So like I said, your mom gives you food. You don't have to go get it. Everything you go up, and then everything's so easy.
I mean, if you think
you don't
about
have that
it,
drive
it's
to
really
fight.
society's fault because like they made it so there has to be two parents that are working it constantly because there's no way that you can survive without two figures coming into the household. So because of that, the moms that are usually the ones that deal with the protection aspect are so
younger,
tired and everything that...
Here's a tablet. I'm tired. Here's a tablet.
Here's
a phone.
a tablet. Here's my phone. Go play a game or something. I'm tired.
I've seen
I have
it.
to cook. I have to
I've
write this report for work tomorrow. Yeah. I can't do this.
Instead of setting boundaries, it's easier to pacify the kids so the kids don't bother them so they can work.
So they could do what they need to do.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it in my own eyes.
I see it everywhere, all the time.
Yeah.
And like, that's why nowadays, like, if I think back to even my childhood when I was little and growing up in the United States, all the kids would be outside until the sunset.
Not anymore.
There would be kids in the streets, like just running around, playing, getting dirty, dealing with life because we would fall down. Our parents wouldn't be there to kiss our boo-boos, so we would have to deal with it or run home to mommy and then get made fun of for running home to mommy. You know what I mean? So we grew up a little bit tougher because of that. Nowadays, kids don't even go outside to trick-or-treat on Halloween. So it's just like...
Yeah, in Saturday. Yeah. But that's where it would be coming from. But that's what the world is now. How do we fix it? I don't know.
We're going to become Wally.
But yeah. That's really all we got. We're not going to talk all day about this.
We could.
Part
5.
5 is coming soon.
You almost said 6.
Yes, I did. See you next time.
Bye.